On this episode of Chris, Will You Ever Finish Your Car? I'm not even going to finish that sentence. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to try myself not do what I do in every other video that I ever make. I pace back and forth when I talk. We're going to go ahead and get started. We still got the hatch in the garage. We have a box that came in yesterday. We got hit with the ice storm and stuff like that, so work got called off for me last night. That's why I am up this early. It's early to me because it's 10 a.m. Usually I'm asleep, and I don't get up until later on because I work night shift. But what we have right here on this table is actually a part for our all-wheel drive hatch. For those of you that are new to the channel, this is my 88 Civic hatchback. I built this car from pretty much ground up. It started out with the original dual point fuel injected motor, the little D series that come in it. Pulled it out, started doing all the work out of it, started in the storage unit and everything like that. Pretty much just to sum it up, I do have a recap video from where I started with this car. If you go through my videos, look up click on the 2020 recap video, and you will see a cinematic video that I put together inside of there, and you'll see where we came from when we started on this build up to where we are to this day. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on this. Pretty good sized box. It's pretty heavy. I already know what it is, you guys don't, so we're gonna open it with you. Now I will go ahead and say I did have this part on the car before, and I had actually sewed it because I wanted to go a different route, but honestly I should have never sewed it. I should have just kept it for myself, but it's okay. We got another one in. So what we have here is another Xcessive intake. Now, for those of you that do know, any center feed, especially for K-Series, any center feed intake is pretty expensive. Say if you go with the Skunk 2, I mean, you're looking around $1,100 to $1,200, depending on if you got a connection or not. But for like a Skunk 2 Ultra center feed, that's about what you're gonna pay, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not paying that. So I actually picked this guy up for a little over $500. It's not bad. It's brand new. Now I'm sure you guys are probably asking, why did you get rid of the first one just to buy this one? Well, for starters, the first one I bought used, and it was nice, don't get me wrong, I liked it, but I did not know that there was two different center feeds for the K-Series for this Manifold. Now there is only a slight difference in the two, and I'm about to explain that as soon as I get this pulled out. Alright, so here's the difference. So we'll go ahead and stand this guy up right here. Alright, so the first one that I had that was originally on the car before I sold it, it was a 50mm intake. And what I mean by that is these runners right here. Each of these runners measured out to 50mm on the port. So if I had the other intake right here beside this one, you'll be able to tell a day and night difference. But without having it right here beside me, or actually beside this one, to compare the difference in size, you won't know until you actually see it with your bare eyes. But the one that we did have, the runners were 50mm. This one is 58mm. So they are just a little bit more beefier. The ports are just a little bit more opened up. Very, very nice setup. For those of you that do not know, these are 2-piece manifolds. This kit alone, whatever I've done with it, this kit alone, it comes with a nice thermal gasket, and it comes with all the hardware needed. There's everything that it comes with. Comes with barb fitting, stuff like that. These 2 little spacers for the fuel rail, so you'll have your taller one go here, shorter one go here. So hopefully that doesn't jeopardize with the size of my injectors, with them being like that. Because I mean, they do have these little top hats, so hopefully with the length of the injectors, it's not gonna affect running these, because these are offset. I do not recall the other manifold being like that. They were actually pretty flush and everything just set just right, but these are offsetted. So we will see if we run into that issue whenever we get this thing installed. So it comes with the rest of the hardware. In the box, it already comes with 2 bolts together just to keep it separate, keep it together and not separated in the box and clinging and stuff like that, and take a chance on chipping and not seal up. But they do not have a gasket for right in between the plenum and the runners, so you actually have to use some gasket maker, and I highly recommend using either gray or black, just because they'll look a little bit cleaner. I actually have gray, and this is a fresh tube, so I'll be able to get this sealed up pretty good. That way we don't have any air leaks, vacuum leaks, or whatever, and run into some issues on that. So we'll go ahead and get this thing thrown on the car, and we'll be able to get our injectors and fuel rail on, and be able to piece this thing back together. I'm still waiting on my manifold. Trying to be patient about it. I'm not trying to bug them or anything like that. It will get here when it gets here. It'll get made when it gets made. It's already paid for. I got my receipt and everything, my order and all that. So it's not like I'm going to get jewed out of my money. So that's pretty much the only thing really need to get back to where we were after we had started backtracking on doing some upgrades, and it started out with the intercooler, and then everything just started escalating from there. Upgraded the manifold, intake, and now we're back with the same style but a little bit more aggressive. So we're getting there. I got some stuff on the way to complete our fuel line setup. I was running -6 feed and -6 return. I am now running a -8 feed, -6 return, so I can use all my line and stuff for the return. Fuel cell is now back here, so I am currently rerouting my lines, remounting my fuel pump, stuff like that. But it's not gonna be worth it in the end. It's more of a street car now, so that's why I went with that 10-gallon cell instead of the 2.75 FCS cell. So yeah, enough talking. Let's get cracking on this manifold and let's get it installed. So first thing that we're actually going to do is we want to take these bolts out. And we're going to get this guy sealed up. And then we'll get all the hardware installed, get everything tightened up, let it sit. I'll probably let it sit for about an hour or so before I install it. That way I don't take any chances on it breaking loose or anything like that. I just want it to seal up properly and not have to deal with the headache later on. So this gives you an idea of what it looks like torn apart. Just like that. Now, I don't think that there is any plenums that you can put in between here, or I guess like the spacer that they, like a 1-inch spacer or anything like that. I don't think this company makes these, but I could be wrong. I haven't looked on their website, so don't hold me to that information. So we'll go ahead and get this guy sealed up. I'm probably going to do it like this, set it just like that. Run my gasket maker across there, set this guy down just like that, and then go ahead and put my bolts in. I feel like that'd be the easiest way. So we'll go ahead and get all of our hardware out, and then we'll get started. So right here, we got our final product all sealed up. Got everything tightened down, a nice solid bead laid around on the silicone. So I'm probably gonna wipe this off. That way it gives it a little bit more of a cleaner look. So actually I'm gonna go ahead and paper towels, shop towels. I'll go ahead just to make it look a little bit cleaner. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get this guy installed. So we got our gasket right here. Now we got our intake getting ready to go on. So I'll double check and make sure the fitment on the gas is gonna be good. Yep. That's good. Gas is gonna fit perfect. Same bore and everything. So we'll go ahead and alright, so now we got the gasket set up here waiting for the intake. And I'm gonna go ahead and take these bolts, before I put them back in, and rub a little bit of anti-seize on them. Just keep them from seizing up after they sit in the head. I don't need much, just a very, very little bit. Just run it across like this. That's actually a little more than what it needs. So I'll wipe a little bit off. That should be about enough. So I'll go ahead and get the intake up. Get it in place. Push this gasket up a little bit. Just like so. Just like that. And I'll do that to all of them. Just a very, very little bit. Slap her on there, son. Fairly simple. So we'll go ahead and get the rest of these installed, get everything tightened down, and then we'll move over to the fuel rail. Get the fuel rail on, get the injectors seated, and we should be one step closer, and then we'll wait on our fittings and stuff, and our 20-foot roll of -8 fuel line to get here. And then we'll go ahead and start building our feed lines from the cell in the back up to the fuel rail. And then we'll find a new place for our fuel pressure regulator to mount to. Not sure exactly where I'm going to put it right now, but after I get everything here and in front of me, then that's when I'll work on that and get that figured out. So go ahead and get the rest of these bolts in, get everything tightened down. Move on to the next step. One thing I noticed, intake is on, everything's tightened up. I will be honest with you, this bolt right here, that one right in there, that was a headache. Because if you can tell, absolutely have no room whatsoever. Like it was a tight fit. It sucked. Hi, buddy. Poo Poo wants to get you. Oh no. Okay, brother. Okay. I realized these little spacers, there's 2 bolts for the fuel rail. Here's an issue. So I'm assuming they didn't think on fuel rails. So that guy definitely ain't gonna fit. And even then, with it being flush like that, You have nothing of the bolt sticking out. So how is that even possibly supposed to thread up to that? Right, come on now. You gotta think ahead. So now I have to source.
Hi, Dada.
Hey, baby. So I have to source some bolts that are gonna be longer than this. Still thread into that.
Hi, Dada.
But also fit inside this. And my imaginary little boat drawer. So we're gonna see if we can't find anything. Maybe I got some Downstar hardware extra laying around. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. We'll find something. Hopefully I have a boat that'll fit. Maybe this will. We'll find out. We'll find something. So yeah, stay tuned. Well guys, it's the next day. Last night I got aggravated, I'll be honest with you, and I pretty much just looked at it and said screw it. So I gave up, I got irritated, and I just walked away from the car, went inside, got the kids in the bath and stuff like that, and I laid down and I went to sleep. So today's a new day. This is what got me aggravated. So if you notice right here, how I showed you that the bolts were too short and all that stuff, well, I may be able to actually still use these. Maybe, I don't know. I'm probably just going to use these because these actually do set down in the fuel rail itself. But if you notice, I got these little spacers on, and these injectors ain't even seated. They're not even set into the intake. So I went over the instructions that came with the intake to see if it said anything about those spacers had to be modified or whatever, and it didn't say nothing at all about it. So we're going to try to make it work. I'm going to seat the injectors without the spacers and pretty much set the spacers up beside the fuel rail to give me an eyeball on how thick they or how long they need to be. And then I'm just going to trim them down myself using a grinder and cutoff wheel, and I'll make them the proper length that I need. And we're gonna try and make them work that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the fuel rail back off, pull the spacers out, seat the injectors like I said, and we'll get an idea on how long those will need to be, and I'll mark and then cut, and we'll see where we're at. So we'll see what happens. Guys, fuel rail is intact, tightened down, injectors are seated past the O-rings, set in there pretty good. We'll double check on the tightness after we get fuel ran to the system, as the lines and stuff ran back, and if they need to be tightened up just a tad bit more, just to seat the O-rings just a tad bit. I'm pretty positive. I'm very comfortable with how it's sitting right now, so I am sure that it's not going to leak at the injectors. It's got fresh O-rings in it. injectors are all plugged up. Went ahead and pulled this little -6 fitting out as we are going -8 feed, -6 return. We still got a -6 line right there, the fitting. We got all of our other fittings and stuff and lines up there. We can reuse all that and use every bit of that as our return. I do got some -8 line and fittings and stuff on the way. Should be here next week or so. It says next week as of yesterday, so a week of yesterday. It'll be here Thursday. There we go. Okay, I just said that. It'll be here Thursday next week. Today's Friday. We do got these fittings already down here. I don't know if y'all can see that or not because it is dark. Those are our -10 to -8 reducers. Probably going to cap off one of those down there at the bottom and just run one line off of the fuel cell at the bottom, just cap the other one. We do have this little wide junction right here as our coming off of the fuel cell. It'll come into one line, come into two, straight to both of the fuel pumps. And I got another one of these on the way. It should be here in the next few days or so. Probably I think Tuesday of next week. So 2 business days. Got another one of these, so it'll have the 2 off the other side of the fuel pumps back into one line, and it'll come all the way up the car like I had explained before, and it'll come up to our feed, and we'll find a place for our fuel pressure regulator on the return side to bolt up somewhere. That way we can see what kind of fuel pressure we're at, stuff like that. But we got all that on the way. Fuel pumps, I got them boxed up in here just to keep dirt and stuff out of them and keep them away from the air and stuff like that. The way they don't get clogged up with dirt and just collect dust. I got them boxed up. So yeah, an issue I did run into. It works. It's not the prettiest. I mean, it kind of stands out. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. This bolt right here, this is all actually Downstar hardware. Let's see, I got no. Yeah, these right here. These are all Downstars that I've had extra from a kit, and this one fit in here perfectly. This bolt right here was just a tad bit too long, and these are the only other ones that I had. It's actually a bolt exactly like this, and which I'm pretty sure this, yeah, I'm pretty sure this might be Downstar. Anyways, bolt exactly like that, just a tad bit too long. All the other ones I had were too short, so I put a couple washers just to bring this down and compensate for the length until I can find a more remotely close length on the bolt to make it set down into the fuel rail like it's supposed to and be flush like the other one on the passenger side. But it works, so it's all tightened up. The fuel rail isn't moving or nothing like that. I shook it, like I said, the injectors are seated, everything's how it should be. It's just, I don't know. I don't even care, to be honest with you. I don't. It don't bother me. But like I said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. I try to even it out and put a bolt or put 2 washers on the other side to kind of make it look normal, which I may be able to use this bolt on the other side. I'm gonna double check and make sure that ain't the exact same thing. I didn't have 3 of them of these bolts. But I may be able to use that bolt if it's a little bit longer than the one that's in there, and use 2 washers on that side, kind of make it look like it's supposed to be like that. But I'm happy with it. Intake's on, injectors are in, fuel rail's on. We're waiting on fittings and lines, and we're starting to piece this thing together. And it's getting there. So it's starting to take back form, take back shape of how it was before we started upgrading stuff with the intercooler. And it's starting to get there. So all we really need now is the manifold that we had paid for and had made. Waiting on that to get here, or be made and then shipped out and get here. I need a throttle body, which is 90mm. Probably gonna go with the Ross. Need a throttle body, my manifold, my turbo manifold, and the ECU. And we should be able to start the car. And to follow up with the boost portion and stuff like that, I need a wastegate, and that's it. And then it's all down to small stuff like brake lines, pads and rotors, like stuff I got on here, a radiator, hoses, I need rear axles and stuff like that. I need the S1 built rear forks to clear the axles in the rear. Just small stuff. But the last big things that I need is a throttle body, an ECU, and wastegate. So that's gonna be all of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned because we got some more parts coming in and should be giving us some more work done to the all-wheel drive hatch. So getting pretty excited now that I actually got some stuff coming in, and it feels good to be working back on the car again. So we'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace. Just so you know, I have no clue what the fuck I just said.